Good evening, Ghana. I am super excited to be back here again. My name is Miriam Uduak Menta. The show is the dish, and I'm super excited, guys. This is one of those conversations that you prepare 10 months ahead and look forward to it every single day of your life. My entire career has come to a place where, you know what, I can call my mother around and say, I've arrived, okay, I've arrived in life. I'm not doing it again. But listen, we show up every single Monday here on MX24 just to make sure that that young girl makes the best decision of her life and makes sure that we don't breed a generation that is making mistakes that we've already made. And that's why we have incredible women, in fact, progressive women passing through the show every single Monday evening as we get into big conversations that matter to you as a young girl. So take your seat, grab you coffee, tea, or just water. Let's get into this big conversation. The dish brings you thought-provoking discussions, empowering perspectives on women's issues, and a focus on global development. Come along as we continue to elevate women's voices, disrupt outdated norms, and drive real change with progressive women. Again, a big welcome to you, wonderful women who show up every single day, and the men too. I have some wonderful group of men who show up every single Monday to watch who is on the show and to see who they're able to learn something from, because they're about to marry us. And so they want to know what we are doing with our lives. And that's why we're here this week. So thank you so much to every single person who shows up to watch the dish here on MX24. Connect with us on all social media handles. The hashtag is the dish on MX. Hashtag the dish on MX24. Now, today, this evening, my guest is no stranger to me. I remember when I was in journalism school, Marbodef, and I used to watch her on television. I was like, oh my God, this girl is so good. And I remember one time going into my practical room, and my lecturer at the time, Tommy Anand Forcing, God bless him, he said, you sound like a girl on television. She has a really wonderful, and she has a command over the English language. I want you to be like her. So I'm telling you today, Tommy Annan Forsen thought that I sounded like this woman so much, and he wanted me to be like her. Well, today, I'm not only like her, I get to sit with her to have a conversation. Well, born on July 24th, 1995, Natalie Ford is a proud Ghanaian. Yes. I've actually been asked whether you're Ghanaian.
I am 100%.
100% Ghanaian. Now, she began her early education at Ghana International School and Meeting International School before furthering her studies in the Royal Academy of Music and the Accra Film School. She first stepped into the public's eye as a fashion model representing Ghana at the Miss Princess World competition in the Czech Republic back in 2011. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, I know you didn't. Beyond the Runway, she's the founder of a fourth group and the Ford Foundation, both dedicated to empowering others and creating impact. In recognition of her work, she was honored by the United Nations with the Gold Star Order of the Companion Honor and the Excellent Personality Merit Award in 2017. From modeling to media and philanthropy. In fact, now movies.
Yes.
Good evening, Natalie.
Good evening, Mimi.
How are you doing?
am wonderful.
Are you not excited to be here?
I'm so excited.
We should actually bring drums and
we should have performers and all.
a whole performance.
So happy to be here,
I'm so excited. They don't know how excited I am and how long we've actually talked about this.
We have.
Today, the day is here.
It is here, finally.
We're going to have all the big conversations.
We are.
My first time I watched you on television, I was like, okay, people don't actually talk like this. So fluent, so in command of the language. I remember it was in the news. You're reading the news on TV3, and it was actually really refreshing to have a voice like yours on air.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing this?
How long have I been doing this? Now it's been like almost a decade.
A decade, right? Yeah.
So I started TV3. I was 20 at the time. So yes, I've been doing it since 20.
So now we're a decade old in the system.
We
took
just
a quick
few months
break,
to a decade old.
Which
I did.
I hope you don't mind us getting into what that break was about.
I'm
you took a quick break that got Ghana talking as a young 20-something years old who just needed a break in their career, because you have to be here to know that sometimes you need a break,
Right.
whether it is for a good reason or just a break
Yeah.
to be able to recalibrate and come back. For you, what was that season like for you?
So that season was, on a personal front, a much needed season.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so necessary. And I tell you this, I'd have to go some years back
Yeah.
before I get to why that season
Yes,
was so
yeah.
necessary. So, yes, I mentioned I started out at TV3. I was 20, 19, just turned 20, like literally about a month
Yeah.
into 20. And I didn't, prior to TV3, my whole plan was that I was going to go to school, I was going to travel, go to school abroad, hospitality. I was so fixated on
that.
having a hotel. Someday we might just have 4
It's still
hotels.
going to
Let's see.
happen.
No, but yeah, I loved hospitality. But I modeled that when I was younger, as you mentioned. I started modeling at the age of 13 with Exopa and did a number of fashion shows, and then the Miss Princess World in Czech Republic. So there was a woman named Evelyn Akoto who took me to Miss Princess World, enabled me to represent Ghana, basically. We had an audition, I was selected and represented Ghana. When I returned and I was done with this short course at the Accra Film School, one random day, we needed a place to intern. The Accra Film School mentioned upon completing the program that we come up with a few companies that we'd send letters to for internship. And I hadn't quite gotten to getting that done.
Yeah.
But something just dawned on me to check up on this woman. Her name is Evelyn Akoto. So I said, why don't I give her a call and find out how she's doing? I called her and she said, I'm great, Natalie, but I've got a program and my female host just bailed out on me. I mean, she's unable to host the program. So we've got a male host who was Kweku Teming at the time with TV3.
Oh, there we go.
That's how it all began. And she said, I don't want you to co-host this event with him.
But how old were you again?
I was 19. At the time, I was 19, a few months to my birthday.
To your birthday.
So she asked that I co-host the program, and I said, okay, I mean, no harm, you need me, and you know, she's been a huge blessing to me.
Yeah.
So I did. So upon completing that, Kweku is like, you've got a really good voice. I think you can do news. I wasn't even in the least bit thinking, honestly, Mimi, about doing news. No, not one bit.
Wow.
Not one bit. So he said, do it. And I was so close to getting out of Ghana and going on with this hospitality dream that I had.
Of yours.
There was a complete detour, a big twist to my plan. So I discussed with family and said, give it a shot. I mean, even if it's a few months, who knows? It's a big network.
You just never know.
You never know. So I said, all right, well, let me go do it. I went in, they were done with this national audition at TV3. And at the stage that they were at was the interview section with the board. So they said, okay, we put you into the interview section. If you pass, you know, if you sail through, then you take it from there. You have the job, exactly. And I sat in that interview and they asked me, okay, so tell us about your experience. And I said, look, I've got none. I've got absolutely no experience. I'm just a young girl.
On the streets?
Yeah, right? I've got no experience. I haven't actually studied journalism, but I'm willing to learn. And so you could try me. This is the experience I have. Yeah. And at the time, my training in music as well, I felt like there were some transferable skills that could help with your voice on television. So thanks be to God. They took me, 2 of us, Solace Rose Quartet. Some people may know her. I started out with her at TV3 and I just begun. I hadn't settled into, in my mind, what this was supposed to be a few months internship, quite frankly. Yeah. Or if anything, at least a year. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, okay, hold on, Natalie. You need to think. I mean, you need to plan a few other areas of your life and carry on. I don't know if you get that feeling, Mimi, but sometimes, and like you said, in media, there's a lot going on, right? You just need to pause. There's some times where you just need to pause.
You just need to.
Right. So I needed to catch up with school.
Yes.
On a personal front, I needed to get to the point where I said, okay, this is where I am in my life now. This is where I want to go. And step up. Be fully present in what my life looked like at that stage. So that was that was one of my main reasons. And it was a time that on a personal front was very necessary. Yeah. I mean, it was a wonderful... I'm thinking about it.
You're thinking about saying it or not saying it. This will be the platform she's going to say it. Don't worry.
Well,
we'll get there.
No, look, Mimi, I couldn't be having this, interview with anyone, a better person, I'd say, than you, because I don't grant interviews often. I
No,
mean, I'm
she does
always
not.
on your seat, right? So yeah,
So we are very
but-
honored that you're doing this.
And I'm
personally,
I'm glad
I
to be
love
here.
you for this and more.
I'm very glad to be here,
awesome,
Mimi. And so
awesome.
yeah, it was a year of recalibrating. It was a year of focusing on my plan as a human being, as a young woman, focusing on my priorities, personal stuff
Yeah.
and educational.
Absolutely.
And I needed that year, so
Yeah.
it took people by surprise.
Yeah.
I know, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Anything.
No.
You said it earlier that if you're not in this industry, you will not understand that break. See, people do not know how fast this industry takes you.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute you are the girl at the back, trying to edit a script for
Exactly.
someone. Then the next minute you're the girl everybody's calling. Hey, I
Yeah.
know you,
Yeah.
right? And that transition is not always very clear.
No.
Sometimes what it does to you is that then you've gotten a certain level of success you're not ready for, or recognition you're not ready for, that you lose sight of what you actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. That's the plan.
Oh, did you?
And I would do it. I've
Oh,
told them.
wow.
I will be a neurosurgeon. I will be. Looking
forward to that.
Journalism happened to me.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I also took a break, but it wasn't a break like yours,
Right.
where I went out of the system
Okay,
completely.
uh-huh.
But it is a break that at the point was necessary, because if you don't take care, you will get to a point in this career that you don't have anything but just this. And this is a very seasonal
Yes.
type of career, where 1 minute you're the voice, the
Right.
other minute you're probably the godmother or the voice, the voice backing the voice, and you will not always be here. And so it's important for you to find other aspect of you that will keep you grounded in this space. So they don't know, but we're telling them today. So for every young girl
Yes.
who wants to be like you, you sometimes have to take break. That's first lesson for today. Write it down.
Oh yeah, you sometimes do.
Yeah.
You need to figure yourself out in the system. Yeah.
At what point did you decide to transition from modeling into journalism completely out in your mind? Because you just told us
Yeah.
about how that transition happened, not something you were prepared for, but in your mind. At what point did you say, I'm going to pause this whole thing. Let me focus on this at this point before moving to any other thing?
Well,
Was it like a special event that happened?
it
or-
wasn't a special event. Was it a special event? No, it wasn't a special
Okay.
event. I mean, of course it had happened. I was there at TV3. I started off with News in Brief, did the midday news.
Yeah.
Shortly after, they said we were going to remodel News Tonight, News 360. Forgive me, I was saying News Tonight.
Tonight.
News 360.
Yeah.
And I mean, and God bless them, the more senior people in the organization who thought it well to place me,
Yeah.
honestly, a babe, I could describe myself
Yeah.
as that, alongside Alfred Okansi
Yeah.
to host News 360. Think about it,
I am trying right now.
yeah, it was a lot. But then I realized that, life isn't always what we plan it out to be entirely, right? God orders our steps as well.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I hope to do hospitality. You can study hospitality at 30. You can study, you can pick it up someday and, have a hospitality firm or something at
Yeah.
some point. So I had to ask myself, this has not just happened for nothing.
Yeah.
I could have been in and stayed doing News in Brief for ages. But why is it so that they saw that in me to place me on that stage?
On that stage.
At
That's
that age.
really big.
Exactly, right? It's a huge stage. And I said, it's not for nothing. And I took time. I pondered over it. And I just looked within myself. I asked God about it as well. Is this, what do you want for me? Discussed it with loved ones, discussed it with family. And I realized I may need to change plans. That's it. I mean, it's clear. I can't just be doing News 360 and shortly after I drop off.
Yeah. have
This
to
has happened
build
for a
something,
reason.
yeah.
So now I need to figure out what are my other passions. I mean, yes, I didn't think of doing news, but I've always enjoyed media in a way. I've enjoyed television to a large extent. So probably this is the path.
Yeah.
And I needed to figure myself out there and see that this is the platform that had been given to me. And life is not what you always plan for it to
Not
be,
at
but
all.
it works.
Not at all.
You know?
Listen, we're still on the career path of Natalie Ford, and mention your name again.
No, you said it correctly.
There's something I love about her. It's the way she
you want
pronounces
me
her
to?
name.
Okay. And
My
I'm
name
Natalie
is
Ford.
Natalie
Yes,
Ford.
I am. Natalie Ford. Yes.
I love it. I love it, guys. I love it.
Thank
And so, at this point, you had risen from just a young girl who was trying to build a career in hospitality to TV.
Right.
From TV3, you went up for a bit. And the next thing we saw, you were on GH1 with its own stories. Listen, we're keeping it real here. She's okay.
No, no, I'm fine, baby. I'm in good hands
You were
with
on
Let's go.
TV at GH1.
Yes.
And doing amazing over there with Natalie for a show, with the news and all the big political
Right.
conversations. I miss all of this. What was the defining moment for you? Is there anything at this point in your career that made you feel like, no, I need to do something else, or this is it, like a defining moment for you on this journey? Because I want to say that your career started from TV3 on TV. It's now at GH1, but all of in the midst of all of that, you're doing other things.
Yeah.
Was there any point that caught you in your chair, like, yeah, I need to do this and I need to do that? Because we have to talk about your other amazing things you're doing around the world.
I wouldn't say there was, growing up, honestly, I've always been very entrepreneurial. So when I was much younger, and that's how the whole Fort group and the Fort Foundation stuff started. When I was done with modeling, Exopa, just right after I'd gotten back from the Czech Republic, I had some time on my hands. And so I had a few young women who I scouted, so to speak. I got a little team and had a model management firm. So we had an office at Tema. Later we had to move from there, but we had an office at Tema. So I was
a small madam.
A small madam, right? I was like, how old was I at the time? Actually, when I think of some of this stuff,
I'm sure you're probably like 18. Or something.
I wasn't yet 18. It was before TV3.
So that's about
It was before TV3.
17.
I was about 17, 18.
Hey.
I was about 17, 18. So, I mean, small madam. I'm sure that that's because I had an assistant, a receptionist, and I'm sure this young lady. But, I believe in exploring talent. And just, sometimes it may seem odd, it may seem funny, it may even seem silly, but just try.
Yeah.
So I had that, and I had a few young women, audition them, worked for companies like Dark and Lovely, got them to model and take part. Yes.
There you go.
I mean, we're actually, but so I've always been entrepreneurial. Always been entrepreneurial. When I started media and from TV3 to GH1, I didn't want to lose that. I wanted to make sure that, because media can take a lot of your time.
It can.
I wanted to make sure that whatever platform I was given, I still tap into my passion for entrepreneurship, right? And so with media, it started off where, yes, I had done the model management stuff previously, but alongside that, I began engaging with a firm called the World Sustainability Organization. And so I decided to put a bit more of my energy into that as well, alongside media, of course. So basically sustainability, PR, media advisory services for them, for sustainability issues across Ghana and Africa. So that was one of the first, right? And as that picked up, I then worked with a team of women within a group called the G100, the Club G100, a global wing of leading women, I mean, presidents, vice presidents, you name it, who form that group. And so they picked me to head the Ghana chapter for the
How
media
did
arts
that
and communication wing.
happen? And I'm pretty sure you're like the youngest.
I am. Well, yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, I guess you just have to take some things as they come, and because they come for a reason. You may not always feel entirely, prepared, but it prepares you. There's some things in life you have to do before. Within the process of doing them, you get prepared. You have to learn on the job, exactly. True. And I think that has been one key thing in a lot of stages of my life, right? I didn't prepare for news, but I learned on the job.
You learned on the job.
There are many things that I've learned on the job in my life, honestly. G100, we picked that up as well. And there's a firm called the 16th Council in the UK that I work with as well. It's basically a think tank, still advisory, but on democratic issues, governance. So a number of things came up.
Ghana's first female president. That's what you are planning to do. Now I can be your campaign manager. I promise. I'll be a good one. A good campaign. I'm a good campaign manager. I promise.
But I have a varied interest, and I think that I've always said my desire and dream for the media is to be someone who works in the media where it shouldn't be the sole thing you're doing. I value time. I value having authority over my time. I think that's one thing that is very important to me in life, right? I don't want to be at the point where my time is just controlled by all other factors. I like to have control over my time. And for me, that means doing my own thing in a number of cases, in addition, of course, to working in my role in media. So back to your question, which was if there was that moment, right? It wasn't that one moment. I just said that as long as I do media, I need to remember myself. So the foundation stuff, one of our first initiatives was to call it Children's Ward. I need to just remember the things I love and keep doing them.
And miss what's your purpose.
Yes, exactly.
Do you also, would you say that the narrative that your career or the things you like are tied into your purpose?
The things you like are tied into your purpose. Your career?
So, for instance, people are on this huge journey to find themselves. I want to find my purpose in life. I don't know if you've heard, a lot of people are doing that on social media right now. And I heard a woman of God talk about how the things you like, the things you're passionate about, the things that scare you in life, the things you're emotional about tie into your purpose.
I agree with that 100%.
Wonderful.
I think sometimes you overthink purpose. Like, just that one thing that's going to drop in, like, that's my purpose. I don't think it's that dramatic, honestly. I think it's a lot more simple. You know, it's little things like you were saying. You can love fashion. You can love music. You know, I love music, for instance. I love art. Just little things. And once you explore those, don't ignore those passions. I think that's the worst thing, you know, as diverse as it may seem, you know, embrace them, you know, because for instance, of course, I love news. I'm doing it now. I've grown to love it. But I love music. I can move from Afro beats and just dance to Burna Boy and Shatta sometimes. Like, you know, and then I will just switch to classical music and be listening to Andrea Bocelli. But it's all part of me, you know, and I think we need to embrace ourselves fully and all our interests and passions fully. Eventually, it will lead you to your purpose, as you put it. Yeah.
You mentioned something about being in media and forgetting yourself. Forgetting yourself in the sense that the things that you love to do, you'll be so consumed by media that you might not follow those things, or before you decide to start following them, time will not be on your side. You might have to, you know, double up in re-loving these things, right? So I frame this way, that the media often puts women, and the focus is women here, under immense pressure regarding appearance and perception. And I say this about you. I had a conversation with one of your bosses. We'll give him a name later.
Okay.
And I remember I saw you in this very beautiful red dress. And then I said, I don't like this dress on Natalie. But who am I? Then he says, no, call her. I said, I'm not going to do it. Natalie and I don't do that. So we're not going to do that here. But I think that every day I find a side of Natalie that I am in love with, which is the more expressive. But there was a point where someone will look at you and be like, she's a conservative.
I know.
This girl does not like to do too much with herself, which means that the new norm to look a certain type of way in the media space hasn't caught up with you yet, or you will never get there. I think you have, in my opinion, and in other people, because I try to hear people's opinion about you, you especially, and a few other media sisters that I have, because I like to hear what they think about my sisters. I like to hear what the perception out there, so that when I'm dealing with you along those lines, so you don't miss it, right? And then I remember one of the gentlemen said, she's so classy. I want her to stay that way. She looks like one who can be vice president or prime minister of the UK. He said something like that. And I was like, okay, this is really good.
Okay.
But then this red dress gave us a big conversation to have. And whilst we're having it, I said that she is not your stereotypical media girl.
Yeah.
She will do her thing. And if you like it, you will tag along. If you don't, please. But would you say that there was any point in your career that you felt pressure to look a certain type of way, especially with the looks? You want to think about it? Please.
I'm not going to think too long. Don't worry. I know I think I grew up. I started modeling at 13. Fashion and looks hasn't been something so far removed from me.
True.
So it's something I naturally embrace. And you could change from being very glamorous to then having a very simple look. It's all part of fashion. It's all an expression of self. So no, I wouldn't say there was that immense pressure, right? But there were few stages that it was like, okay, how do I, in terms of what, you're in a certain culture or context, people receive things differently. I remember recently I used my natural hair on air,
Yeah.
and well, some thought it wasn't, and some others thought it was, and some said, "You look so humble, like so humble. Why did you look so humble?" I said, "What you mean?
What you mean by
I looked humble? This is the hair God gave me."
Yeah.
And I looked humble. It was just such a I was so tickled by that person's description. But it's like, I believe in embracing beauty in different forms. I enjoy fashion. I enjoy looking good. But to me, I like simplicity as well, honestly. I'm not an overdone sort of person when it comes to my look. I like to look elegant. So that person you were talking to was right.
Yes.
I like some timeless, beauty. I like
that I can say.
yeah, I like
That I can say.
simplicity, and I think it resonates more with me.
With you.
I will feel more like myself when I'm
More subtle.
more subtle
calm.
and simple and elegant.
Yeah.
Having felt pressure, no, I didn't feel that much pressure. However, when I was switching or including my show to the news is where I realized, okay, I need a bit of a diversity in my look because, for instance, at TV3, someone came to me once and said, "Oh, you always wear these suits. I love the suits I used to do a lot of suits on TV3. But I needed to change that up at a point. And my show also made me recognize, having a bit more fun with my
with
fashion,
your looks.
not all with my look.
That's the Natalie Ford show.
Yeah, exactly, with the Natalie Ford show on GH1 TV. So, yeah, I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm open.
You just don't want the whole vavavoom. You just want it.
Yes, I like elegance, and I want to feel like me.
Yeah.
I don't want fashion or any look that robs me of that. Just internally feeling like myself. When I feel so disconnected from me, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
You don't feel comfortable. No. On the Natalie Ford show, she has had big conversations with different incredibly amazing people. Sometimes when you sit and watch how her interview skills, top of the world. We've been having a great conversation with Natalie Ford here on The Dish. This smile is not going away anytime soon. We'll be right back after this break and continue this smile and the great conversation. We'll be right back after this. You're welcome back to The Dish here on MX24. My name is Miriam Uduak Mensah. I am super excited. I've said super excited a billion times today. Okay, now I'm letting go that word today. But indeed, I am excited. It's good to be here every single evening to have these conversations because people just don't know. A lot of young women are looking the wrong direction when it comes to mentorship and being guided in life. And some of these stories, they shape that, mindset to win. A lot of things happen in some of these people you admire's lives that, you don't get to hear. But here on the show, you get to hear all of that and it will help you and guide you. All those who want to be like Natalie Ford, get in here. Let's talk, okay? Back in the studio, Natalie, we're back. We're back to get into other big conversations. Now, have you ever felt underestimated or judged because of your image choice or the fact that you're beautiful? I mean, so don't rush.
No, I'm not.
We have
I'm
2
listening.
hours. So wait, when I was telling you earlier, when I got back from Trumpstown, Trumpstown, I had an interview because of the award I won, and one of the questions they asked was, "Do you think Ghanaian women, don't get more attention about, the brains? Because the reasons why we thought we hear you won the award was what you do in the industry.
Yeah.
Is the focus more on the looks than it is on the brain?" And I said yes. I said yes because a lot of the times when you enter into rooms as a media personality, female, people are looking at what she's wearing, not what she coming to say or what's on her mind or what's in her mind. Right. And so a lot of women in the media space have had to face that. If you're not looking a certain type of way, they don't think you're intelligent enough. And sometimes they really don't care about what's in your head. Just come looking the best, you can. just to fit into their image of who a media personality has to be. You've lived in the UK. You've seen women around the world. The women on the television stations out there are not really about that life. Really, it has to be.
Yeah.
It has to come with what you carry up here.
Right.
But over here, do you feel like as a person you have been attacked, judged, misrepresented, or even underestimated just by being looked at, as opposed to people listening to you first?
I felt it a lot of times.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we all do.
yeah, we do.
I maybe. No, I felt it a lot of
You know what that meant,
times.
right? I did. Okay, well, maybe
You're like, you're
feeling
wondering.
not Natalie Ford.
No, I mean, I felt it, well, a number of times. Let
Okay.
me put it that way. Maybe a lot is a bit of a stretch, but I felt it a number of times. I mean, I think that, yes, they do. And a lot of times we are judged by how we look. It's not entirely negative, depending on how we play on it, I think, as well as women. It's not going to change. I don't think it's going
Not
to
anytime
change. Not
soon.
anytime soon. They're going to ask or look at how we look, and then how we sound and what we have to offer. I felt it a number of times. You're on news. I mean, at TV3, I was doing news Monday to Friday, and you have many comments, some positive, but some, Natalie's had this hair for long. And then it's like, okay, you're thinking of changing your hair because they're varied comments that come. I think it's a natural thing, honestly. Depends on how we respond to it. Personally, I like to walk into a room, look at me. I mean, I want to look good for myself first, and then it's makes you're better received when you look better. But I think it adds that. It takes you up a whole lot when what you have to offer, what you have to say, how you sound, how you command a room is completely different. Yeah. They will put you on a totally different level. There's too much emphasis. And where it then saddens me is where I would engage with a younger woman, and you see that there's so much emphasis on that alone.
That alone.
Yeah, it's a big gap because you can be looking wonderful. And trust me, when you then open your mouth to speak,
they want to be out of the room.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you
don't
could
wanna
then
do
have
that.
just come looking average.
Yeah.
It might have been a better decision to come looking average, honestly speaking. Yeah, honestly. I think we need to, as women, realize that it's not going to go anywhere. When you feel like it's becoming, you're being tagged or being sort of bullied even, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
But it's not going to go anywhere for the most part. Make sure that we invest, and that's what's important to me. Invest in how you sound, in what you are saying.
What you're saying.
In the value that you bring to a space.
True.
Yeah, and then that's
and
it.
then everything else.
Yeah,
don't
it will just.
matter.
It's okay if they look at you a bit. It's
bit,
fine.
Yeah,
I mean, just let it be.
It should, the effort you put in, looking great should be equal or more.
Equal,
in
yes,
what you put
yes,
inside
exactly.
of
What you
you.
put inside of you should be
Even more.
I think so. Yes.
Wow. As a young media woman, right? Do you think Ghanaian industry, the Ghanaian media space needs to pay more attention to its women? Just support the female journalists. Because have you noticed that there are the number of women on air
On air.
very small?
They're small.
Have you paid attention?
I will have to. I don't have an exact statistic,
Exactly,
of course, but are they small generally?
Okay, so I'd say this. So the male journalists, let's start from sports
Yes.
to those who are doing the morning shows
Yes.
with, the big platform. I'm talking big platform.
The
I'm
big
talking the
platforms.
women that have the attention.
Yeah.
It's a handful. And some women are intentionally not being out here because of what they've seen their predecessors suffer. Do you think we need more support?
I think we could always use more support.
Okay.
I think on one hand, yes, you say there are not many. We could have more women on television in Ghana. I think we could have more women on TV for hard issues. Women are on TV, but the issues are sometimes, not all. I mean, thankfully now, we've got a lot more women doing hard issues.
Yeah.
There are many women who've set that standard.
Yeah.
We can talk. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, the Emma Morrisons, the
Yeah.
Nanabes,
Yes.
and so on.
Yeah.
But we need more women doing harder news, harder topics on air. I think that is what we need to see some more
need to
of,
see some more of.
you know, and also have more women at the top, managerial wise, and in executive level.
That would impact
within.
the choice of.
I think it should. I think it should. I
Yeah.
think we've got key media organizations now in Ghana that are also being managed by women.
Women, yeah.
That's a good thing for me. Where we should place emphasis is on those women who have been blessed to have those positions, should remember the others, you know, and really invest in giving visibility and building capacity of other younger women.
I say
in
this to
space.
say, the reason I asked this question was, you know, you hear, I was speaking to one beautiful young lady, she's coming up, Abina Sereno. She was at the
Yes,
event.
she was. I met her. Yeah, I met her
Wonderful
the
girl.
other day. Yeah, she is.
Oh, she loves the attention.
She's
and some other young Ghanaian young girls who are coming up in the media space who think that it would have been better if their boss was a woman.
That's how they feel from those
Because
who've engaged with.
so they don't feel sometimes with these men they don't feel protected. They feel objectified. Is that a word?
That's the word, objectified, yes.
They feel not that, you know, the leaders are doing that to them, but really and truly the system just does not work for them. It's almost as if you have to do more to maintain where you are at. And if there was a woman in that space, she'll protect them 360. That even the men outside leadership who think, you know, because again, I had this very interesting thing. I'm going to say, because on the dish, we don't discriminate or we're having a big conversation. Someone told me that at TV3, the girls over there are so protected by Madame Beatrice that you can't penetrate the space. Like,
you can't penetrate the space. A man can't penetrate.
You know, you can't just say that you're going to invade that space and destroy all the girls there.
Oh my goodness, Miriam. Okay, got it.
You can't do that because she protects and provides for her girls. If you see how she promotes them when some of them are going to win awards, she's showing up. They think her covering over there is making the women there thrive. So I was asking that, do you think that women in that level can help?
1,000%.
Indeed.
And I've worked under Beatrice. You know, Beatrice was part of the board selection when I was being interviewed.
Love that.
She was head of the newsroom when I was in the newsroom. So she was a great supporter herself as well. She was one of those who contributed and spoke in terms of my being placed on News 360.
Love that.
I've worked under Nanaba.
Yes.
Two different personalities.
I tell you.
But Nanaba is a strong woman.
She is.
You know, a great friend. And she wouldn't think twice when it comes to you needing help or advice or something of sort. So I think we need more women in such positions who don't forget the others, because be it Beatrice or Nanaba or the other many women who are leading media houses in Ghana today, if you're blindsided with regards to that, if you don't see what other young women are, don't forget that one day or at some time in the past, you were a young woman in that space. Right? Nanaba, for instance, has done this for, I couldn't even count how many years. Beatrice, I don't know when she joined TV, but I know, right? She's been there since she was much younger, so she said when I got in. So women at that level must remember, at some point, you're a 20-something or what have you, young lady, just trying to find a way around a huge news network or media network. It's the remembrance
that helps.
That helps. We can have women placed at the highest of highest levels,
and
if they
a lot of young girls will still be suffering.
A lot of young girls will be suffering,
which is why the vice president comments that she's going out there not to close the door or shut the door, but she's going to hold the door open. Was very important for a lot of young girls.
Very salient comment.
Indeed,
that's what it's all about.
Let's just tell this government that they won election because of that. But let's
okay,
so that they know that the women's contribution was a little high. Natalie, this year or 2 years ago, is it 2 years ago? Or last year, let's say last year. Let me not lie.
Okay.
Last year, I saw you enter into a space I'd never seen you enter before. Like, I didn't even expect. Like, when I'm thinking about Natalie Fort, I'm not thinking about a movie scene.
Okay.
You moved from modeling to media, behind the scenes entrepreneur, then to movies. What kind of transition is this? Tell me about it. Tell me about this transition.
No, I live for transitions.
I love that.
I honestly, I will be, you know, I get bored. I need to keep myself excited. People, like you said, who may see me on the external, I look very conservative, and I am to an extent in some way. but I love adventure. I'm a very adventurous, people who know me really well, I'm a very adventurous person.
Love
And I need
that.
to have fun.
Yeah.
I need excitement. I
Yes.
need different things in my life at
Yeah.
different stages.
Yeah.
Else I
Yeah.
get quite bored. I've always loved acting in my heart. I had never tried it, but I knew in my head and heart that
That
I
one
loved
day
it.
you'll be
that
good
one
at this.
day, right? Yeah, so I love acting. Why do I love acting? You know, when I was growing up, I was very shy. I was quiet. I wouldn't say I was shy, but I was quiet.
Yeah.
Unless we have a very close relationship,
Yeah.
then I would, loosen up.
Open up, yeah.
But I'm a great observer of people. I observe a lot. And that just naturally, I'm not trying to observe, right? But naturally, I pick up on things
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
So I think acting gives me a window into the world of someone else. And I love the opportunity to, for some, be it months or days or weeks, play another character.
A character, which is not
I
you.
would, no, which is not
Which is
me.
not what we're used to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. And so my step in acting or picking up, being a part, Ivan Kwashiga,
Yeah.
wonderful gentleman,
Yeah.
helped me and put me on that, I should say,
Yeah.
upon auditioning, of course. Yeah, play the role of Yaira in
Yeah.
House of Clue.
Yes.
And this was a big deal for a first time
The
actress.
House of Clue is the big.
It
You moved from
is.
like big TV platform to the biggest. Wow.
House of Clue was #1 on Showmax
yeah.
for, quite a
Yeah.
while. And so there were sleepless nights. I'll get done at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you're tired and you get home and maybe you'd have to do the news. It was a lot. But I live for transition.
Yeah.
And I think life, it's not meant to be static. As human beings, we're not meant to be the same for too long. I mean, grow, right? So acting is not anything that I'll be stopping. You'll see me with another, and I like to act characters
on more sets, right?
Yeah, I would love to. I want to play roles that are far removed from myself. I think that's where it gets even more exciting.
I love that. Love
yeah,
that.
I think acting is such a wonderful art.
Does it give you an expression of something that you think is hidden inside of you? That because I know that you're excited about playing other characters, but do you think there's a person inside of you that you're nurturing with this talent and this opportunity?
Yes, even within the months we shot House of Clue, it was like a school for me. So it was a school because I haven't acted before. So literally I would, I was learning on the job once again, right? But it helps you discover different aspects of you, of myself. It helped me discover different aspects of myself. I played the role of Yaira, Clue, very work, all about work.
Yeah.
And as much
married
as
at this point.
supposed to, right, exactly. But I mean, you just realize that there's a side of everyone's story you can appreciate through acting. I feel there's a side of Yaira I begun to appreciate and even find little aspects of myself, so to speak, within her. And I think acting just works as a school because you're literally playing someone else's someone else.
Yes.
And Yaira is a character we formed for House of Clue, but there are Yairas walking around in Ghana. There are women who are in relationships as Yaira was with Dashihine, and has got a wife here and all sorts. It's real for some people. Yeah. So I like that. I like to step into someone else's shoes. I feel like it helps me get to know the world a lot better. Now,
briefly on this one, I think we might have touched a bit of this particular question, but I just wanted you to hold it down so we can move on.
Okay.
In this career that you keep reinventing yourself, evolving, and getting excited about it, are you not scared at any point losing yourself and your core values? Are you not scared of that?
I'm not scared. I mean, because fear just puts us on. Fear is where it begins. I think when you become afraid of the thing, it begins to become real. That's my philosophy.
So let's not fear so that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, don't fear. I mean, I don't fear not losing myself. I just try and remind myself of myself frequently. I try and surround myself with people who really know me. Before I ever begun any of this, family is key. I come from an amazing family. I've got wonderful parents, siblings. So I value family a lot. And I think just holding it down, having people who really know me for who I really am. And spirituality is also a key part
Yes,
of
she's
my
a Jesus
life.
baby, yo. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
In fact, blend that into this one. Having faith, being a woman of faith amidst all of this.
Right. It's the key and the core. I can't say anything that has been such a foundational part of me, my upbringing and my life in
Absolutely.
general.
Absolutely.
And it's been a key part of what has gotten me through a lot of things, right? I don't know fully who I would be or how I would be without that honestly, and without the God factor and spirituality. It takes you to the point where you realize you're on this path for a purpose. It becomes bigger than you. I think when it becomes about you and everything is about you, is where you can tend to lose sight of what's actually happening. And so, be it my spirituality, my family, friends, core people in my life, and feeling myself out in the things that I do, right? If I'm in this industry, if I'm doing something, I'm playing a role, say an acting role, that does it really resonate with my... Yes, I want to play roles that are different from me, but I need to feel it deep inside of me. I need to make sure that these things I'm doing are me.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm doing on professionally with news. However I'm handling my life should speak to who I truly am as a person. And then hopefully I wouldn't lose sight of
who you are, who you truly are. That's very important, you know. In this journey, once you lose sight of who you are, that's it. You're done. You're really, really done. Trust me, you're done. In my opinion, you're really done.
I agree.
If you met 16-year-old Natalie Ford throughout this entire journey of yours, what's that one advice you would give to her? And what's that one lesson you would tell her you learnt on this journey of becoming? Because now you're 30.
Yeah.
Yes. We're big girls now, okay?
Know,
Talk
right?
to us nicely.
We are.
Right? What is that one lesson you would tell her you learnt on the job, on this journey? And what's that one advice you would give to her?
Wow.
I know.
That's a lot.
Hi. This is the part of the show I love. When the real stories that we're telling take shape.
Yeah.
Because that's why we are about to end the conversation, but it needs to take proper shape. So now we're here. Let's close it and get it done.
Ooh, what would I tell the 16-year-old
Natalie Ford
at 16? I'll tell her to live. Really live, right? Live it out fully. And what I would mean by that is whatever deep inside your heart, 16-year-old Natalie, you feel, you believe that you can do, you aspire to do, who you aspire to be, be that. Because I think there are many times where voices in our head, where social media, now we've got, that, could
You say it
to just sort of make you question a number of things and not live out your true, authentic self. So what I tell 16-year-old me and what I tell other young women, men, young ladies, gentlemen, is to really live out the fullness of you. I think essentially that's what I will tell my 16-year-old self.
And that lesson you've learned on the job?
The lesson I've learned is to embrace your path, your journey. Don't look at anyone else's.
There's a reason why Natalie is my sister. Now you guys know it. Now the world has found out why. You need to embrace your own journey.
Embrace your own journey.
Your own path.
Embrace your own path. 100%. Like, don't look to the left or to the right in terms of
who's doing what.
Yeah,
what are they doing? What's the trend?
What is
the
trend? Just like really live out your personal journey fully. That's what I would say. For me, it has, and I would pray that it's always that. In terms of what I have done, what I'm doing, and what I hope to do. Be from a personal front, in my personal life, in my professional life, is to really live out my journey, my story, what that looks like to me, balancing out professional life, personal life, domestic life as well, because it's not also all about work.
Yeah,
you
sometimes she's
know?
cooking and cleaning though.
Yeah, sometimes you cook and clean.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're with family.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much more to life. There's so much more to life, and on a personal front, I think it's important for young women, particularly young women, to embrace your own personal journey. I would hope that my work in news and film and so on would grow more, so would touch a lot of lives. My work also with charity, you know, with the Fort Foundation, we seek to do a whole lot more, particularly things that are related to children, and because I love children as well. I absolutely love kids.
How many kids are you going to have?
I've got one.
Yeah.
I've got a son.
Did you know that? Yes.
I've got
She
one.
said it. She said it. Boy or girl?
Boy.
Boy.
Yes, I've got
You're
a
a boy
wonderful-
mom.
I
It makes
I
sense.
am. What makes sense?
Let's sit here and pretend I didn't know. Oh, it makes absolute sense.
No, yes, I am. I am a boy mom.
yeah.
A wonderful young man.
It's one of the greatest, most difficult, adventurous job in the world.
It's a beautiful job.
It's a beautiful
It's a
job.
beautiful job,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't trade it, you know,
For
with anything.
They don't know.
It's they don't. Okay. It's such a beautiful job, you know, and it's such a gift to be able to have this platform. And to also be able to have a platform where you're giving back into the younger generation, both on a larger front of news and television to a domestic front as well. And so I would, that's what I would tell my younger self, to be her authentic self, to fully embrace her unique journey and to live it all out fully. Yeah.
So this has been a great conversation. I'm sure today you're like, yes, that is what we stand to do, and that is why your journey is being shaped by this show, helping you to navigate that unique path of yours. I remember 3 years ago, I sat at La Galette with this incredible lady, and nobody would think that we're age mates. I sat there and I lost myself completely. I was lost in life, and I said, I need to talk to someone who can understand this journey of mine. Maybe she might not understand fully what it is that is going on. I tell you what, the women I bring on this show might look like people that I have personal connections with, but it's beyond personal connections. It's the lessons they've taught me to shape this woman that you admire, and I want to share that experience with you. So you might not be able to sit with them at La Galette like I did, but you will be able to sit on MX24 with them to hear their stories and how it will help you shape your life into becoming the best version of yourself. That conversation, Natalie, that you told me in that meeting, that made me just be yourself. You were great. You're good at this thing. Rough at the edges sometimes, but you're good.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving that place and telling myself that if my sister thinks I'm good, I'm good. And you know, everything changed from there. But I had lost myself completely.
I do
I was gone.
I
didn't care about this thing. I wasn't sure if I was even doing the right thing. But I found myself again, thanks to my beautiful sister. And to you out there, I need you to find yourself too and live that unique journey of yours. Natalie Ford. You can find her on all social media handles. Natalie Ford.
Natalie
how about
Ford.
the social media handles for the businesses? The
So
Ford Foundation.
fortgroupghana.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Just go on there.
Yeah.
You find out everything that you do. And as the Ford Foundation, if there's any way you would like to support or work with her, please slide into their DMs. Let's work together and bring together a generation that is fully helped and supported. Natalie Ford. My name is Natalie Ford. Thank you so much for joining me. We finally did it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Now to you out there, thank you for always being a part of this beautiful journey of becoming here on The Dish. Of course, it is on MX24. We're bringing nothing but the best of conversations. And of course, we amplify the voices and shut out outdated norms. We don't care about those things anymore. We're growing. We're becoming the best version of ourselves with progressive women. Thank you for being a part of the show. See you again next week. My name is Miriam Uduak-Mensah. See you again. Mwah, I love you.